guys, Dr. David Jockers, and today we're talking about the Elimination Diet. And the Elimination Diet is really a great approach for anybody that's having unwanted symptoms. So perhaps you're having chronic pain, you might be having issues like acne or eczema, you might be having joint pain, you may have been diagnosed with like an autoimmune disease like lupus, rheumatoid arthritis, Hashimoto's, maybe you're having weight loss resistance, right? You're just not able to lose weight, you're tired all the time, you gotta clear your throat a lot. You know, these are all common symptoms that people deal with on a regular basis. And if you're having any kind of symptoms like this or any other unwanted symptoms, headaches, allergies, asthma, breathing problems, I mean, the list goes on, acid reflux, all these types of things. Elimination Diet is a great strategy to take to really help reduce inflammation in your body and help you heal naturally. And so what Elimination Diet consists of, basically we start by taking out foods that we know through science and research cause more inflammation and more problems with the gut. So we know that the gut lining is like one cell wall, it's one cell thick, right? And when we have inflammation, because we're not digesting food properly and our body's creating immune reactions to the food particles, it ends up damaging the gut lining and therefore causes more and more inflammation in the body and creates further gaps in the intestinal system. When we have that, we're gonna end up dealing with a lot of different symptoms like we explained before. So this is a great way to reduce inflammation and allow our body to heal. So what we do with the Elimination Diet is we start by taking out the most common irritants. And research has shown that there is really 8 to 10 really common irritants, right? So the top 8 that people have the most food allergies, right? The greatest percentage of food allergies to are gonna be things like gluten and grains. You've probably heard of that. So wheat, barley, rye, oats, kamut, spelt. These kinds of things have natural gluten. Actually, oats really doesn't, but a lot of times oats are made in a factory that has cross-contamination with gluten. So if you do oats, you wanna look for gluten-free oats, but ideally, stay off of all grains altogether, and we'll talk more about that. Number 2 is dairy. So dairy is a very, very common food sensitivity or food allergy. So the only kind of dairy that I recommend for my people that are going through like my autoimmune program or my digestive health restoration program, it's gonna be ghee, which is a clarified butter, right? So they take butter, they clarify it, they take out the milk solids, completely free of casein and lactose, as well as whey, so the proteins and the sugar that's in natural dairy. And so we want to get it from grass-fed cows, so that would be grass-fed ghee. All other dairy, it's best to avoid that for a period of time, particularly doing this Elimination Diet. So we take that out, we take out eggs, right? Eggs are a great food, but we see a lot of people have sensitivities to eggs. So we take out eggs. We also take out shellfish, which I'm not really a big fan of consuming anyways, but you know, clams, shrimp, lobster, things like that. A lot of food sensitivities, a lot of people have issues with shellfish. So we take that out. We take out corn. Corn is a common irritant to the gut lining, so we take out corn. So we take out soy. We also take out nuts. And of course, nuts are a great food, but most of us know people that have peanut allergies that don't respond well to almonds and things like that. So it's a very common food irritant. So we go ahead, we take out the nuts, okay? And we're also gonna take out, with this, we're gonna take out nightshade vegetables, tomatoes, bell peppers, potatoes, as well as eggplant. Nightshade vegetables, about 26% of our population doesn't tolerate them well. One of the most common symptoms that people have when they don't tolerate nightshade vegetables well is oftentimes they deal with chronic headaches and migraines and joint pain. Those are 2 of the most common issues that people deal with when they struggle with nightshade vegetables. So we take that out. And last thing that we're gonna take out is just overall grains. Like I was talking about before, even taking out things like rice, taking out any sort of grain component. We just see that people have less inflammation when they do that. So typical meals are gonna be built around clean meat. So, pasture-raised chicken and turkey, wild-caught fish usually works really well. Even though fish is a common food sensitivity, or food allergy, I should say, with the plan that I recommend, we keep fish in unless you already know you've got a major sensitivity to it. Because I see a lot of people react well to things like wild caught sockeye salmon actually works really well, unless you know you have food sensitivity. So with the elimination diet I use, we keep the fish in. Grass-fed beef in small amounts, we'll do that. Lamb, wild game like deer, things like that. That's gonna be your clean protein. Lots of good fats like coconut oil, coconut butter, coconut flakes, avocados. We talked about the grass-fed ghee, olive oil, olives, all really good foods that most people respond well to. We're gonna do lots of vegetables, so broccoli, cauliflower, spinach, kale, collard greens, things like that, all really good. Cucumbers, celery, herbs like ginger, turmeric, basil, oregano, thyme. I mean, all really, really good foods. We can do a little bit of seeds like sprouted pumpkin seeds or chia seeds or flax seeds. Very good. Some fermented foods like kimchi, sauerkraut, coconut water kefir. Really good stuff. So that's kind of be what the diet consists of. And, you know, we have whole nutrition plans built around this. Things like my, if you look up my autoimmune solutions diet program, it uses this exact elimination diet. And that's how we go about it. So basically with an elimination diet, the best way to start is eliminating all the foods we talked about. So nightshades, you know, corn, soy, dairy, all the things I talked about in the beginning. We eliminate them for a minimum of 1 month, right? So you go 1 month without consuming those, right? Again, you're still eating good foods. Many of the recipes on my website have, you know, they're awesome. People love them. They rave about them. We've got recipe books built around this. So you're still eating good food. You're just eliminating these common food irritants. You go ahead, you go a month. And then what you do is you'll try to add one back in. So you might try to add back, let's say, eggs, right? Eggs are a great food. I'd love for you to be able to consume eggs and be able to tolerate them well. So what you'll do is you'll have eggs every day for 3 days. And you'll journal during those 3 days how you feel. So let's say you went on the food elimination diet and you noticed that your pain levels went from a 8 out of 10, you had extreme pain, and they dropped down to like a 2 out of 10 where it was barely noticeable. You added back eggs. That was the only thing you added back. You didn't have any increase in stress. You were still sleeping the same. And all of a sudden your pain went up to a 5 out of 10. Or let's say you were constipated, right? You just noticed you couldn't move your bowels then. Or let's say your eczema came back, right? You noticed some sort of response like that, to sign that your body's still not tolerating that food, best to take it out. If you really don't notice any change, then that's a sign like you consume it and you're like, man, I feel really good. I still feel good. You know, I don't notice any changes. I don't feel worse. Then it's a sign that, you know, let's keep going, right? Let's go a full week and see if you continue to notice. If after a full week, you're still feeling good, it's a sign that food is probably, you're probably able to tolerate it, right? So you just go ahead and keep that in. Okay, I wouldn't recommend eating it every day, but you're probably gonna be able to tolerate it, so you can add that as kind of a regular part of your diet. So in a sense, you go 3 to 7 days adding those foods back in to see how you tolerate them. So the next week you might try a certain type of nut, like an almond. Again, almonds, great food. I'd love for you to be able to eat almond butter and almond milk and almonds on a regular basis. But again, it's a common food irritant. So you try the almonds, 3 days. You journal to see if you notice any change in your symptoms. Okay, does it get worse? Does it get better? I mean, that's a good thing to notice as well. Okay, maybe there's some components that you weren't getting. Like for example, with eggs, you have a lot of vitamin A in eggs. You get a lot of choline, which is really good for brain. So sometimes if you tolerate eggs well, you may notice that you feel even better. And that's a great sign to include as well. So you go ahead, you try the almonds out, 3 days. You notice if you're better or worse or the same. If you're worse, take them out, right? For another month, at least one more month before you try them back again. If you're better, okay, and you may notice you're worse after a day. You may notice after one meal. So, you know, it doesn't have to be 3 days, but you want to give it some time to see how it sets in. If you feel better or you feel the same, go a full 7 days. Eating a little bit of almonds every day. It's not like you want to eat almonds at every meal, but eat like a small handful of almonds or, you know, maybe 2 tablespoons of almond butter every day for 7 days. If you still feel good, it's a good food. You can add that into your diet in a sense on a part-time basis. Again, not consuming almonds every day after that, right? So after that 7-day period, you know, but adding them in several times a week should be just fine, okay? Then you go to the next food, right? So it might be, let's say grass-fed yogurt, right? So you get some yogurt from grass-fed cows, a healthy form of dairy, and you try that out. Or maybe a tomato, right? You might try a nightshade like tomato or a bell pepper. try that out and see how you respond to it. And this is really how you do it. So you'll know, in a sense, you go 1 month without any of those foods, 3 to 7 day trial period with each one of those foods over a period of time. And in a sense, there's only so many foods you can try back, but in roughly 3 to 4 months, you'll know what foods you're responding well to, what foods are causing more inflammation, more irritation, and you'll know, in a sense, you'll have a greater variety of foods and you'll know your food safe zone. And so let's say I try eggs at first and I respond negatively. So like the eggs cause more irritation, inflammation. Then I might take them out and try all these other foods, tomatoes, bell peppers, almonds, pecans, walnuts, dairy, like grass-fed dairy, things like that. And then by the end of that period of time, it might even be like 2 months later, right? So I don't have to try it again in another month. I might be 2 or 3 months later, and then I can go ahead and try the eggs. So you can do that too. Like there's no necessarily set standard. However, what I would recommend is if you do respond negatively, like you do have a response where you're having more inflammation to a certain particular food, then it is a very good idea to keep it out for at least 1 more month before trying it again. No sense in like wasting, another attempt. So again, no real set time, but I would always recommend at least waiting a month, right, before you add back a food that you responded in a negative manner to. You tried eggs, you had inflammation, you didn't feel good, you had more acne, eczema, you had more pain, whatever it was, and then you went ahead, you should always wait 1 month at least before adding it back in. If you wait 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months, no problem at all. More time you have to heal, the better chance you have for a better response and the better chance you have for adding that food back in. Okay, just a couple foods we definitely want to avoid: processed sugars, grain-fed dairy, just always a good idea to avoid those. Gluten, these are foods that really aren't good for anybody, so we should be avoiding those. Those are foods you really don't want to be adding back to your diet. If for some reason, like on a holiday or something like that, you do have them, you should just have the smallest amount and of course, the least amount of duration, consuming that food. You don't want to have multiple meals because too much of a chance that it's going to create an inflammatory assault on your body and cause problems. Fortunately, there's tons of great recipes on our website and in our online programs that you can make and enjoy that you'll love, so you'll never miss the gluten-containing grains, the pasteurized grain-fed dairy, and the processed sugars. So that's a good thing. This is, again, Food Elimination Diet, great for anybody with autoimmune disease or chronic symptoms. Go ahead, try that out. Give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Let me know how you like the video. In the comments box below, if you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and give me a comment. Let me know what your thoughts on the video, anything else that we didn't cover for future videos that you may want to see. Go ahead and subscribe so that way you're getting all of our future videos. Check out our website, drjockers.com. Lots of great information there. And we will see you next time. This is Dr. Jockers. God bless you guys. Have a wonderful day.